only a few days left to vote early and the polls are tight.
Statewide disability cuts may affect Denton schools.
Wizards and rogues get excited. The game Dungeons & Dragons has been adapted into a play.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Isabel Price.
And I'm Emma Burns. With Election Day just 1 week away, presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are pitching to last-minute voters in their final sprint. CNN's Julia Benbrook has more.
Vice President Kamala Harris is using this.
Miss her, kiss her.
That girl is.
If this election is causing you
It echoed.
to lose sleep, you're not alone.
We call it elexomnia, so it's insomnia linked with the election season.
Sleep specialist Michelle Drerup with Cleveland Clinic says in her clinical practice, she's seeing more people being triggered with election-related sleep issues. She says the election can worsen symptoms in those who already struggle with insomnia and can also trigger sleep issues in those who don't have chronic sleep problems.
The person has difficulty falling asleep and they may be kind of thinking about the election or potentially what the future might look like, waking up in the middle of the night and struggling to fall back asleep, or even just poor sleep quality.
Drerup says to prioritize sleep before you even go to bed by limiting social media and election news exposure, which can worsen stress and add to sleep difficulties. Also, be aware of your negative thoughts and challenge them.
Just try to stay in the moment of where things are at right now.
Finally, Drerup says not to focus on the election what-ifs, instead zone in on things you can manage.
We have survived many elections. We'll get through this, right? It's only 4 years, trying to figure out what I do have the ability to control. I'm going to go out and vote. I'm trying to, do things to support others to vote. So thinking about what I can do versus a lot of what's out of my control.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Apologies for the technical mistakes, but now we'll bring you presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump gearing up to the polls to get those voters there. Here's the story from Julia Benbrook.
Vice President Kamala Harris is using this location to remind voters of what happened here 4 years ago, as she makes the case that her opponent is unfit to serve another term. Now, her team is hoping to use this venue to convey a sense of gravity about the choice before voters while she makes her final pitch. Vice President Kamala Harris will deliver closing remarks at the Ellipse, a park that's within view of the White House. It's also where former President Donald Trump rallied his supporters on January 6, 2021. Following those remarks, there was a violent riot at the Capitol.
I do believe that Donald Trump is unstable, increasingly unstable, and unfit to serve.
Harris's advisors say the speech will not exclusively focus on the events that unfolded at the site nearly 4 years ago. She's also expected to discuss the top issues, including the economy, as she makes her final pitch to voters.
Policies that are about home ownership, lifting up our small businesses, lifting up families with children, and lifting up the discourse in a way that it is not about trashing people all the time.
Trump delivered a preemptive response from Mar-a-Lago this afternoon, unleashing a series of familiar attacks against Harris and slamming her immigration policy.
I'm running on a plan to save America. We're going to save America. We have no choice. It's the greatest there is. We love it, and we're going to save it. We have no choice.
Trump also mentioned his rally at Madison Square Garden over the weekend that featured several controversial comments from speakers, including a comedian who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. The former president referred to the event as a, quote, love fest. Now, In addition to drawing contrast with Trump's 2021 rally that took place here, Harris is also expected to draw contrast with that controversial weekend rally. While that was not the original intent of this address, her team believes it will serve as a timely rebuttal. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julie.
As Election Day gets closer, early voting is coming to a close across North Texas. And our Mackenzie Freeman has the latest info regarding local early voting in the area.
Guys, early voting started last week and thousands across North Texas have already headed to the polls to cast their vote. In Dallas County, the Dallas Morning News has reported 353,593 voters have voted in the first 7 days, which is about 10,000 more than the early voting turnout for the 2020 election. In Denton County, 265,927 people have casted their ballots, with just under 51,000 voting in the first day to set a Denton County record. Early voting is still going on as November 5th is coming up. In Denton County, there are 54 locations to cast your ballots, including locations in Flower Mound, Louisville, Sanger, Argyle, Carrollton, and more. If you are voting in any of these locations, be sure to bring a state-issued ID, your driver's license, or your passport, or you will be ineligible to vote. If you are a current UNT student, the Gateway Center is also providing a location to vote all through this week, and early voting ends November 1st, so be sure to put in your ballot. That's all I have for you, your choice. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Mackenzie. The federal manhunt for ballot box burners in the Pacific Northwest is ongoing at this hour. There have been 3 fires so far, one in Portland, Oregon, and 2 in Vancouver, Washington. One of those destroyed hundreds of ballots. FBI investigators have linked fires in both states based on the type of fire starter found in the boxes. Police are also looking for a vehicle tied to the crime, an early 2000s dark-colored Volvo. City officials in both states are beefing up security around ballot boxes moving forward.
And with election season heating up, there are a lot of different emotions ahead of the big day. Mandy Gaither has more on this story.
If this election is causing you to lose sleep, you're not alone.
We call it alexomnia, so it's insomnia linked with the election season.
Sleep specialist Michelle Drerup with Cleveland Clinic says in her clinical practice, she's seeing more people being triggered with election-related sleep issues. She says the election can worsen symptoms in those who already struggle with insomnia and can also trigger sleep issues in those who don't have chronic sleep problems.
The person has difficulty falling asleep and they may be kind of thinking about the election or potentially what the future might look like, waking up in the middle of the night and struggling to fall back asleep, or even just poor sleep quality.
Drerup says to prioritize sleep before you even go to bed by limiting social media and election news exposure, which can worsen stress and add to sleep difficulties. Also, be aware of your negative thoughts and challenge them.
Just try to stay in the moment of where things are at right now.
Finally, Drerup says not to focus on the election what-ifs, instead zone in on things you can manage.
We have survived many elections. We'll get through this, right? It's only 4 years, trying to figure out what I do have the ability to control. I'm going to go out and vote. I'm trying to, do things to support others to vote. So thinking about what I can do versus a lot of what's out of my control.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The wind outside the studio today was killer.
It was a hairstyle killer for me today. I know my hair is a little bit windblown. I tried to straighten it. I made it to the studio. That's all that mattered. And Alexandria, you've had your hair up in a bun today. What's all that about?
That's right, I did have my hair in a bun. I gotta stay prepared so I can let y'all know how to prepare for this upcoming weather. Right now it's 84 in Denton. It feels like 86 and we've got really strong winds coming in from the southeast at 23 miles per hour, hence the bun. Tonight it'll cool down just a little bit to 79. It'll feel like 81 and winds will still be coming in from the southeast at 21 miles per hour. Tomorrow it'll be 78 degrees, cloudy conditions. It'll feel like 81. And we'll have winds coming in from the south, still pretty strong at 19 miles per hour. Now, I'll have more details for you later, but back to you at the desk.
Thank you so much, Alexandria. We want to remind you that with election season just a week away from today, you can get all the election coverage you need right here on ntTV. ntTV is bringing you on the field, reporting from the Capitol to campus, coverage based on our social media audiences, and even opinions from a panel of election experts. Watch our election show Tuesday, November 5th, live from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Frontier 46, Chapter 192, or at NorthTexasTelevision.com.
Coming up next, over $1 million stolen in a fraud scheme in Houston.
And a candidate in the election has crossed the line of ethics.
Join ntTV November 5th for the biggest night in American politics, with on-the-field reporting from the Capitol to campus, coverage from our social media audiences, opinions from a panel of experts, and an in-depth look at our state's most pressing issues.
The presidential seat and the seat for Texas Senator are both on the ballot, and we will keep you up to date on those voting numbers. Watch our Your Choice 2024 election show live from 6 to 8 p.m. on Frontier 46, Charter 192, or at NorthTexasTelevision.com.
Here to keep you covered and informed,
we're North Texas Television.
Since 2019, the state of Texas has underfunded public education. Today, schools' budgets are spread even thinner after the state announced it will cut over $600 million more from special education programs. Our live reporter, Kennedy McGregor, is out at the Denton State Administration building with more on who this will affect. Kennedy?
Thanks, Emma. Texas is known for being frugal when dispersing federal funds, but unfortunately for the families of students with disabilities, that funding is getting even tighter, to the tune of $607 million. The Student School Health and Related Services Program, known as SARS, is a state-backed initiative that provides funds for special education. This includes services like therapy, counseling, and transportation to Medicaid-eligible students. Out of the 775,000 students with disabilities in Texas, it's unclear how many of those students are Medicaid eligible. By slashing SARS funding, the deficit between school districts will increase to nearly $2 billion per year. Statewide, school districts have begun struggling to meet new expectations while teachers are responsible for multiple students. Denton ISD does not have a designated special education budget, but does allocate funds for services that students with disabilities use. During the 2023 to 2024 school year, Denton ISD spent $378 per pupil on guidance and counseling and $27 per pupil on social work services. This proposal decreases both of these numbers and will instead spend $22 less per pupil on counseling and $1 less on social work services. Denton ISD Communications Director Julius Awar confirmed that this, along with a number of other Texas budget issues, are actively impacting Denton ISD. That's all for this budget business. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Kennedy. Some Texas states have received an interesting email last week. Judge Tanner Neidhart, who is an adjunct professor at the school, emailed his students directly asking for them to vote for him in the upcoming election. Neidhart was accused of breaking the law after another candidate caught word. The October 21st email stated that any student who helped campaign for him would receive a free t-shirt and pizza. Neidhart is running for the first time to keep his seat since Governor Greg Abbott appointed him to the 483rd Judicial District Court in Hays County. Texas state law prohibits any state employee from using an internal mail system for political advertising. Texas state has not commented on the issue. In other news, weather is trying to cool down, but I don't know how I'm feeling anything but hot, Isabel. Hopefully Alexandria Teeters will give us some good news. Alexandria?
Local map. So we're staying in the mid to low 80s across the map. We do have 82 in Stephenville and 82 in Bowie, but we have some higher temperatures as 85 in Graham and 84 in Sulphur Springs. Let's take a look at our regional map. Right, we're staying in the the low to mid 80s once again. We've got 84 in Abilene, Denton, and lower temperatures over in Amarillo and Oklahoma City at 81 and 82. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 7-day forecast. All right, tomorrow it'll be pretty cloudy. We'll have a high of 86, a low of 58, and a 24% chance of rain. On Thursday, Halloween, it'll be a high of 77, a low of 52, and a 4% chance of rain. Friday, we'll have a high of 78, a low of 64, and a 15% chance of rain along with storms. On Saturday, it'll be a high of 75, a low of 67, and a 67% chance of rain. Sunday, it'll be 79 with a low of 68 and a 57% chance of rain. Monday, it'll be 81 with a low of 61 and once again a 71% chance of rain. And next Tuesday, it'll be a high of 75, a low of 51, and a 58% chance of rain. Now, I am super happy that we're having some rain because this has been a super dry month this year. 2/3 of Texas is actually in a droughted area. A quarter of Texas is considered abnormally dry, and 19.7 million Texas residents are in a drought. So hopefully this rain will come through and will actually help us all out. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Alexandria. It's great that we can expect all this rain because this October has been one of the driest months this year in Texas. Now, like she said, 2/3 of Texas is in a drought, and maybe take some extra precautions by watching some fires and all these extra things, and we're hoping for rain this week. So thank you so much, Alexandria. And if you're looking for a spooky way to pass time this Halloween, the Union might be the place to go, if you dare. And Andre Williams has a scoop on a frightful fun time.
Thanks, Emma. I'm here today in the Emerald Ballroom at the Union for UNT's Scrappy Creepy Carnival. Now, originally this was supposed to take place on the Union South Lawn, but it had to be moved in here due to weather conditions. Now, as you can see, there are tons of games and activities that you can even win prizes from, along with a haunted maze, caricatures, and a popcorn stand. The event lasts from 6 to 9, so if you're seeing this live, you've still got some time to catch up on this Halloween fun. Now, all month, Denton has been on its Halloween grind with events almost every day. And coming up, we have some more Halloween fun to show you guys. I'm Andre Williams, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Andre. Up next, a spooky play and a costume contest at UNT.
And a staple in the gaming community is now a drama. Don't go anywhere.
Checking or savings account but don't know where to start? Check out DatQ Credit Union right here on campus. Get your Mean Green debit card instantly or apply for a DatQ Visa credit card today. Your school, your card. Plus, make deposits at their 24/7 ATM, checks or cash whenever you need it. Make sure to sign up for DatQ's online banking platform and mobile app for easy access anytime, anywhere. Visit them at www.datq.org to learn more. DatQ, the official financial institution of UNT Athletics.
Calling all adventurers, elves, and goblins, join us on a mighty quest October 30th at 7 p.m. in the Union Lyceum for live D&D at UNT. Enjoy a night of improv, giveaways, and live dungeon-inspired music.
Sipping Sie damit, Master?
We'll meet 6 members of the Escovy Empire's special fleet.
A group of highly skilled magic users.
And melee fighters that work together to deal with wandering ghosts and spirits.
The door is open at 6:30 p.m.
So make sure to dress the part and wear your best costume.
We're coming on with one, right? No one has been busier this week than UNT's Media Library, who plans to host the first Dungeons & Dragons live show at a major public university. The show will feature UNT students playing a D&D campaign, all while engaging with the audience with live music, giveaways, and improvised storytelling. With an estimated 50 million players worldwide, there is almost certainty that there will be a major turnout within the UNT community. If you know anyone or if you're interested, make sure to go to room 226 in the Union Lyceum tomorrow, where the show will start at 7 p.m.
We have good news for those interested in even more spooky performances. The UNT Dance and Theater Department are putting on Play Anatomies. ntTV's Landry Brady went behind the scenes to explore what's in store this Halloween.
Theater is one of the oldest art forms in the world. There are so many aspects that go into making a production, but what many people do not see is the preparation that happens behind the scenes, like for UNT's newest play called Anatomies.
We're starting tech this Saturday, and so once that starts, we'll get our lights queued up, and that'll be really interesting because I know that the lighting design is going to be really interesting.
Despite the play not opening for another week, the crew has been working hard on lighting, sets, and costumes since early September.
Before tech week, it takes probably about, on average, 3 or 4 fittings a person in order to get a garment right. So it takes a while to make something perfect.
But the crew has to start putting their finishing touches on everything because the play itself opens on Halloween night. If you're looking to attend the UNT Theater production of Anatomies, you can purchase tickets through their website. For ntTV, I'm Landry Brady.
I get it.
The play will begin Halloween Day at 7:30 p.m. in the University Theater, and I wouldn't miss the opening if I were you because they're also kicking it off with a costume contest. But if you already have Halloween plans, you can catch the play through the rest of the weekend. That's all tricks and treats that I have back here. Back to you guys at the desk.
And if you're looking for more free Halloween festivities, look no further than the 12th annual pumpkin carving contest on Oak Street Draft House. Our reporter Ian Balderas has more on the event. Ian?
Thanks, Emma. If you're looking for a fun, family-friendly activity to get into the Halloween spirit, then the Oak Street Draft House's pumpkin carving contest might just be for you. The Oak Street Draft House is close to Denton Square, and this is their 12th annual pumpkin carving contest. The contest for kids starts at 6 p.m. They will all receive goodie bags as prizes. For adults, there's a contest at 8 p.m., and there will be gift baskets for first, second, and third place. All tools for carving will be provided, and there will be free hot dogs from 6 to 9 p.m. This event is completely free to attend. So if you've got a great idea for the contest, you won't want to miss this. That's all I have for you today. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you so much, Ian. What's scarier than a jack-o'-lantern? A Halloween costume with no chocolate. Due to a weather phenomenon known as El Nino, consumers will be paying more for their goodies. CNN's Karen Kaifa has more.
This Halloween, your favorite chocolate treat may seem a little smaller, or there may be fewer in the bag.
If people want chocolate, it's still going to be there. Production is still going, but it's just going to cost more.
That's because of the supply of a key ingredient, cocoa. David Branch of Wells Fargo's Agri-Food Institute says recent years have brought tough growing conditions to West Africa, responsible for more than 70% of the world's cocoa supply.
The major cocoa producing region of West Africa has essentially had 3 years of declining production and crops due mainly to multiple weather events that just seem to be piling on.
The International Cocoa Organization projected in August that global cocoa production this season would fall by 14.2%. The supply squeeze felt by major confectioners who had also dealt with higher sugar prices before they fell back this year.
We've seen sugar prices this year drop from the highs we've seen the last 2 years, so that's a positive note for this.
So confectioners have been more creative this Halloween, swapping out layers of chocolate for things like wafers and nuts, combining chocolate and non-chocolate items in variety bags, and making treats a little smaller. The good news for chocolate lovers, weather conditions have improved for this year's crops, which will eventually boost supply. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Speaking of sweet treats, I heard last night's math game went really well.
I heard that too. Gabby, do you have some recap from that Mavs game?
I sure do, guys. The Mavs are on a roll, and I cannot wait to see how the rest of the season goes. I'll have more on them, a preview of UNT's basketball season, and an update on the World Series. Stay with us.
From the depths of ntTV studios, something special is brewing just for you.
Hey ghouls and goblins, ntTV News is having a special Halloween segment this October 31st. We're also covering 31 days of Halloween in Denton. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be spooktacular.
College basketball season fast approaching, head coach Ross Hodge is preparing UNT's men's basketball for a bounce-back season. In Hodge's first season, the Mean Green dipped to a mediocre 19-15 record, but with more time in practice, the team is looking to dominate once again in the American Athletic Conference. Jordan Lindsay had the chance to go to one of their practices and see what the Mean Green have in store.
With UNT basketball season in less than a week, the team is going into this season with a new look.
One thing I really appreciate about this group is all these guys really want to be here, you know, and they knew they were going to have to make sacrifices. They knew that, you know, they were going to have to unlearn some of their old habits coming from other places and learn new habits and learn new teammates. But man, they have such a good heart, and that's what we talk a lot about. Just have an open heart to pouring yourself into your teammates, and they've been great.
A few things I noticed was how hard you have to play on defense and how well-rounded we are as a team, especially all the guys coming together as one. My conversation with Coach Hodge, he said I would be able to be myself, be a dog, and just help the team win.
Ross Hodge is also entering his second year as basketball head coach. Even with new players coming to the team, Hodge makes sure to preach the same objective to them.
Yeah, I certainly don't put any sort of like limitations on this group, and our expectations are that, you know, like they've always been. We're going to try to go out there and try to have an expectation to win every game that we play and compete for championships.
The men's basketball season tips off against Evansville on Tuesday, November 5th, and I cannot wait to see how much the Mean Green have improved. And speaking of basketball, the Dallas Mavericks season finally tipped off last Thursday with a win against the San Antonio Spurs and continued Sunday with a loss against the Phoenix Suns. Last night, they played the Utah Jazz at the American Airlines Center in a very close matchup. This game started off very back and forth, and this is because Luka's magic wasn't in full effect. He ended with just 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists, and he shot a spooky 5 of 22 from the floor. Fortunately, Kyrie Irving stepped in and took control of the Mavs. He, along with Klay Thompson, led Dallas to end each quarter on top, including the fourth for a 102-110 win. Kai finished with 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists, plus a steal and a block. And Klay followed with 18 points, shooting 7 of 15 overall and 4 of 11 from 3. Dallas's next battle is tonight against Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves, so be sure to tune in after our show and cheer our Mavs on. And finally, the Los Angeles Dodgers entered Game 3 of the World Series with a 2-0 lead, but could the New York Yankees fight back and get on the board? The Dodgers opened things up with a 335-foot home run by Freddie Freeman, allowing Shohei Ohtani to get a run and start the game with a 2-0 lead. Los Angeles struck again in the top of the third inning with a Mookie Betts single and Tommy Edman run. New York still doesn't answer, so the Dodgers get yet another run on the board in the 6th inning thanks to an Enrique Hernandez single. With all eyes on the Yankees, they finally respond in the bottom of the 9th with an Alex Verdugo homer, but it was only 2 runs to end the game in a 4-2 loss. This makes the series 3-0 in favor of the Dodgers, but the Yankees still have one last chance to turn things around in tonight's Game 4. That's all I've got for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Gabby. I know Halloween is this week, but I can only think about Mariah Carey de-thawing and warming up her vocals.
It's my favorite time of year, and you're not the only person thinking about Christmas. So is the White House. Officials there have chosen a Christmas tree from a farm in western North Carolina affected by Hurricane Helene. The storm destroyed more than 5,000 trees at the Cartner's Christmas tree farm. However, many of their trees did survive, including a beautiful 20-foot Fraser fir. The tree will make its way to Washington, D.C. in the next few weeks.
I'm really excited to see how the White House is decorated this year. It's my favorite part, I guess, American politics, is the decorations for the White House.
They're so pretty. I am Christmas's #1 enjoyer. I can't lie to you.
Well, we're ready to see those Christmas trees, and thank you for watching ntTV's Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at noon and tomorrow evening at 6 here on North Texas Television.